What drives a person to destroy something beautiful, something meant for everyone? In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns and friendly waves define the rhythm of life, the HOA Park was a sanctuary. Its outdoor theater, with rows of polished wooden benches nestled under sprawling oaks, hosted summer plays, children's recitals, and whispered confessions under starlit skies. But one humid July evening in 2025, that sanctuary became a battleground, and Karen Whitaker, a woman known for her sharp tongue and sharper grudges, stood at its center. Karen wasn't always the villain of Willow Creek. Once, she'd been a beloved high school drama teacher, her passion for theater igniting young minds. But years of bitterness, divorce, a stalled career, and neighbors she deemed beneath her had curdled her spirit. By 45, her laughter had turned to sneers, and her once vibrant eyes glinted with resentment. The HOA Parks Theater, a symbol of community pride, became her latest fixation. She called the benches gaudy, the plays amateur, and the families who gathered there noisy leeches. No one knew why she hated it so much, but Karen's complaints at HOA meetings grew louder, her voice slicing through the room like a blade. That fateful evening, the air buzzed with anticipation. The annual Willow Creek Summer Play, a tradition for decades, was set to begin. Families spread blankets, children chased fireflies, and the scent of popcorn mingled with jasmine. Karen, however, wasn't there to celebrate. She arrived at dusk, her silver SUV screeching into the lot. In her trunk, a crowbar, a can of red spray paint, and a heart full of rage. The crowd, distracted by the stage's warm glow, didn't notice her slip into the shadows behind the benches. The first crack echoed like a gunshot. Heads turned as Karen swung the crowbar, splintering the first bench. Gasps rippled through the crowd as she moved to the next, her face a mask of fury. "This is what you get," she screamed, her voice raw. "You don't deserve this." Red paint streaked the wood, dripping like blood. Parents shielded their children, and teens pulled out phones, live streaming the chaos. By the time security tackled her, 6 benches lay in ruins, their carved dedications to lost loved ones defaced beyond repair. The aftermath was swift and brutal. The HOA, led by soft-spoken President Maria Gonzalez, tallied the damage, $120,000 to replace the custom benches, each one handcrafted. The court didn't hesitate. Karen was fined the full amount and ordered to oversee the replacement of every seat. But the real cost wasn't in dollars, it was in the trust she shattered. Neighbors who once greeted her with smiles now crossed the street to avoid her. Her name became a whisper, a cautionary tale. Enter Lila Chun, a quiet newcomer to Willow Creek. A single mother and carpenter, Lila had moved to the suburbs seeking a fresh start for herself and her 10-year-old son, Ethan. She kept to herself, her calloused hands shaping wood in her garage late into the night. When the HOA posted a bid for the bench repairs, Lila hesitated. She needed the money, but taking on Karen's mess felt like stepping into a lion's den. Still, Ethan's medical bills loomed, and she submitted her proposal, her heart pounding. To everyone's surprise, Lila won the contract. Her designs were simple yet elegant, honoring the original bench's spirit while adding her own touch-delicate carvings of Karen flowers, a nod to the park's namesake bloom. The community buzzed with approval, but Karen seethed. She cornered Lila at the park one morning, her voice venomous. "You think you're better than me, fixing my mistake?" she spat. Lila, unflinching, replied, "I'm not fixing your mistake, Karen. I'm fixing what's left for them." She gestured to a group of kids playing nearby, their laughter a stark contrast to Karen's scowl. As weeks passed, Lila's work transformed the theater. Each bench became a testament to resilience, the Karen flowers blooming in wood where pain had been sown. Karen, forced to oversee the project as part of her punishment, watched from the sidelines, her resentment simmering. But something else stirred in her, a flicker of shame. She noticed Ethan, frail but bright-eyed, helping his mother sand the benches. She saw neighbors bring Lila coffee, thanking her for restoring their park. For the first time, Karen glimpsed the community she'd scorned, and it unnerved her. Then came the twist no one saw coming. At an HOA meeting, Maria revealed a secret. One of the destroyed benches had been dedicated to Karen's late mother, Eleanor, a founding member of the theater program. Karen had been so consumed by her anger that she hadn't recognized the plaque. The room fell silent as Maria read Eleanor's name aloud, her voice steady but kind. Karen's face crumpled. For years, she'd buried her grief under rage, blaming the world for her mother's absence. Destroying the benches hadn't been random, it was a scream against her own pain, misdirected at the community her mother loved. Lila, sensing Karen's turmoil, made a choice. She invited Karen to help carve the final bench, a tribute to Eleanor. "You don't have to," Lila said softly, "but it's for her." Karen resisted at first, her pride a wall. But one evening, under the same oaks where she'd wreaked havoc, she picked up a chisel. Her hands trembled as she carved a single Karen flower, tears streaking her face. Lila worked beside her, silent but present. Ethan, watching, whispered, "It's pretty, Miss Karen." For a moment, Karen felt something she hadn't in years. Connection. The new benches were unveiled at the next summer play, a year after the destruction. The crowd cheered as Lila's work gleamed under the stage lights, the Karen flowers catching the glow. Karen stood at the back, unnoticed, her court-ordered duties complete. She'd paid the fine, draining her savings, and replaced the benches with Lila's help. But the community's forgiveness wasn't part of the deal. Children still whispered about the bench lady, and neighbors avoided her gaze. Even her small act of redemption, carving that final flower, felt hollow against the weight of her actions. As the play began, Karen slipped away, her footsteps heavy on the gravel path. She'd expected catharsis, perhaps even gratitude, but the park no longer felt like hers. The Karen flowers, once a symbol of her mother's love, now mocked her, a reminder of what she destroyed and could never fully mend. Lila, watching her go, felt a pang of sympathy but knew some wounds heal only in solitude. Ethan, holding his mother's hand, asked, "Will she be okay?" Lila squeezed his hand. "I hope so," she said, but her voice held no certainty. Karen drove home, the fine and the benches behind her, but the cost of her rage lingered. She'd lost more than money, she'd lost her place in a community that once called her one of their own. The theater would thrive, the Karen flowers would bloom, but Karen Whitaker would remain a shadow, a name whispered in warning. The park had been rebuilt, stronger and more beautiful, but her heart remained in splinters, unfixable. ND.